Welcome. Hello. This seminar, we are going to talk about presentation skills. So I hope I can give you some tips to you all to understand yourself how you can make out your presentation very well when next time you are going to do it there. Presentation skills are very essential for students, especially when they are doing research or even they are doing the studies. And for a researcher, after doing their research, they can go and do a presentation. And also, it is good for them when they are doing in a conference. So when you go for a presentation in a conference, you have to have a plan. So this seminar lecture, I would like to talk about the oral as well as poster presentations. Hope you will enjoy and you can give the feedback and for improve on myself next time. Please understand at the beginning, a presentation is totally different from a speech. We always talk about that the presentations are they are almost same as speech. The speech is totally a different one. So we had a different speech, it talks about something there to an audience, whether they like it or not. Sometimes they get applause, and but the speech confined without having a plan on that, just to deliver the message to an audience, multiple audience, of course. But presentation is not that so because it is a planned program. It needs some planning, and you had to have a rehearsal on that. So you can do the presentation within the time frame that has been given to you. And secondly, your presentation should deliver the message what you are trying to do that. And third, it should be very effective and the audience should understand what you are trying to deliver on through this presentation. So in a presentation, there are two modes we are using. That also one of the major difference from a speech. Presentation, usually we have a visual also with us. With the help of visuals, we are trying to do that. So there are two sense we are attracting from the audience. One is hearing sense and the visual sense. So it should be matched with what we are talking when the slide is there. So when you deliver a or visual there in the screen, we had to talk on that. We should not deviate from that. So we had to change the slides as when the visuals changes. And then you have to talk about that only. So that the combination you should see as a presenter, then it will be doing something very good and you can able to make very interesting, very powerful presentation and people will appreciate you. Well, every presentation has a purpose. If the purpose is lost, that's all. Your presentation will not be very effective. So the purpose before, you had to have a question on that. Why do I make this presentation? It's a necessity. I had to go for this presentation. Why should I deliver to them? So if you ask this question, then you will be reminded always that your presentation is focused on a purpose. That purpose should not miss till the end. Starting and till the end, the purpose should remind you and you have to orient yourself towards that. Of course, you can ask another question also. Why do I want to tell to the audience? That's also equally important. And what the content that you are going to deliver the audience, whether they are interested, whether you create an interest to the audience, and the audience will be more passionate to listen your message, what you are delivering through the slides, through your voice, and a combination of that, and they will be eager to even listen more to even some at last you'll ask questions, clarifications on that. So you have to create interest. That is more important in as a presenter. It's also one of the good skill of that. Create an interest, and also you have to familiarize them that what you are trying to explain on that. So the main people are the audience when you try to do a presentation. Audience, without audience, your presentation is nothing. So the audience, of course, as I told you, this is a learned people. The audience, they are spending their valuable time to listen to your content. and your delivery. And you have to respect the audience as well. The sense that you have to have an eye contact with them. You have to see the audience, and you have to, with the smile, you can do a presentation very attractively. That is more important. So you have to understand who are the audience there. So try to do an analysis before starting a presentation, or even while doing the presentation, you can analyze yourself whether your message is reached, whether people are okay, comfortable, whether they are happy to listen this, and then you can take the momentum quickly, then they will follow you. So is the very important thing that when you do this presentation, will be very, very interesting, and see that the relevance of the message to the audience. Sometimes the audience may not be interested, but you try to deliver. If you feel that, then you have to change your tone, you have to change your the passion, the way that you try to deliver. And sometimes you may speak very fast, you have to go down, slow down, and clearly explain. Sometimes you need not explain unnecessarily on a particular content if the audience are not interested, or it is maybe a very simple concept. So see that something new they wanted. Any audience, they wanted some new information. So that you have to focus in any powerful presentation. That is the more important aspect we have to consider here, right? Remember, a presentation has a beginning and an end. So at the beginning, you have to focus on what you are trying to do, and you can brief about your objectives and what you intend to do that. And there's a definite end. So you have to orient yourself, take the audience with you, and finally end up with, and you will receive very, very appreciation about how you did the presentation. Clearly said the message, and people can easily understand properly, comfortably, and very efficiently. So these two things are important. This is your time frame, beginning and the end, how you are going to manage the time within, right? When you do the transition of your slides, when you change from slides to slides, you have to avoid certain things that also notified by many audience, many presenters, that we are repeating certain words. Next, 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 next. And if you start using large number of next, then it will be bored. So people will be boring, but he is not properly delivering that. Some people even they use also, this also, that also, oh, too many alsos. So you can avoid. No, this is all by practice. You can able to even take out all these small mistakes, and you can come out with very, very fluent and powerful presentation. Sometimes the people use that is, that is, I mean, that is, of course, you can use it for a while, but not frequently. That also that I have to indicate here, right? So any presentations, powerful presentations, we can talk about 4Ps. This is very interesting. You have to have a planning. Before doing a presentation, you should plan yourself what you are trying to do, and every slide what you are trying to communicate to the people. See, it's a communication tool. That's all. So how you effectively you can communicate to them? So you have to prepare. When you plan yourself, you're down these steps, how you are going to do, and you can to start preparing, and how many slides you are going to use in a presentation, and what you are trying to do, and how effectively you are going to spend the time on that particular slide, how you deliver the message, what extent you are going to explain in each slide, in each section. These are all you have to practice and make yourself very comfortable. You also should enjoy the presentation. That is more important. While doing the presentation, you should enjoy first. Then you can expect the audience or even the evaluators, they will enjoy and they will be with you. And that will be a very interesting part of that. And the third one, you have to practice. Of course, any event needs rehearsal. So you can practice yourself at home or even any place. Repeatedly see that the practice is how much of time we are spending, how much of time I am going to take for the slides presentation, sometimes 10 minutes. Now we have 3 minutes presentations, and even sometimes for 15 minutes or even 20 minutes. Sometimes it goes for a lecture, it goes for 1 hour or even half an hour. So it depends on your time you are going to allocate. So each slide, how much you are going to allocate, that you have to decide on that. Then that will not be boring and you can communicate effectively what you are trying to explain in each slide. Goes at last, the fourth P is the performance. Performance in the sense, in a combination of your visual and your oral message, what we are speaking, that should combine together, and that is the real performance of that. You can attract the audience with many means, and it's two sides. When you are changing the slides, don't talk much about that. When you change the slide, you can talk on that. You have to orient two sense, especially in the audience sides. One is the hearing sense, other one is the visual eye sense. So visuals, vision is, and the hearing sense, two sense you are now taking from the audience. You have to coordinate them effectively, and the message what you deliver will be reaching them and they can able to understand very nicely, right? So planning is a very essential part. That also one of the success of the presentation. If you plan properly, not only in presentation, in for anything, planning is a major foundation, right? So organize your slides. Organize the slides in the sense that you had to make it clearly, step by step. Every step they have to understand. They will follow one after another. Then once you start creating this flavor, then the audience will be with you. Very interestingly, they will follow you. So your role is very easy there. You can do it very nicely and you can conclude, right? To make it yourself easy, you can prepare dummy. The dummy in the sense that prepare a content, what we are going to try to do that. So divide the sections into a presentation. Of course, for any research presentations, we have these sections. Of course, introduction at last includes the objectives. So introduction, you have an objective, and material methods. These are major sections. Materials and methods, results and discussion, conclusion, and of course you can actualize. There's an introduction, of course, you can put the title in the front. And this is the major sections. Of course, you can elaborate it, giving the title. After introduction, you can give objective and you can explain on that. In each presentation slides, the text, how much we are going to put, whether you are going to support with any photograph to explain on that, or you can give videos as well. So any mode which is easily for them, but whatever you put, you have to explain. Just putting a photograph and running from one slide to another slide has no meaning at all. Any content you are putting there, even a graph, if you put, you have to explain the x-axis and y-axis, what is there. And what you are going to infer from that graph, you have to guide them. Then they will easily pick up that. Even a table, there may be big table, but which data you are focusing? What is your ultimate inference from that table? That you have to highlight. That is more important. Unnecessary documents, please don't put in the slides. This is not a waste basket. So that's what we had to have a concern, right? The size of the fonts is more important. Of course, the fonts size. Sometimes, the people sitting at the back side, big classroom or big audience section, where they couldn't able to read it properly because the size of the fonts may be small. So you have to consider that. Of course, there are testing that you can even understand that different sizes of these fonts are available of the same font. Conveniently 18, 20, 24, 28 you can consider. Depends on the audience and the depth of the classroom. This you have to testify it early as possible. Otherwise, your presentation will not be much effective. So you can consider this. You have to consider always when you started preparing your slides, right? Then selection of the font. There are many fonts available in the system. It doesn't mean that we can testify every font. Of course, you can test, but as a rehearsal. But for a final presentation, use any simple fonts that can be easily understandable. Say, for example, Times New Roman or Arial or any very clear, easily readable fonts. That sounds very well for you. You can change the size or the color. So as I told you, colors are available And it doesn't mean that you have to use compulsorily all colors. Colors you can use, of course, if you want to make any highlights on that. Otherwise, black and white is very simple. For a scientific presentations, I think black and white is a very simple mode and easily understandable. Either in a white background, you can use black fonts, or even a black background, you can use white fonts. It depends on you. You have to testify on that. See, in new colors, of course, it looks nice. So then the audience will be more comfortable when you use multiple colors. But it also understandable when you use it for even black. So black and white also not very bad. But you can't highlight anything. So if you in a color, you can highlight anything. So in that sense, you have to have an understanding that you have to first decide whether color is essential. If it is color essential, how many colors you are going to use and which color you are going to use. The color combination also equally important, that I will explain you a little later, right? So choice is yours because you are going to do the presentation. See the black background, okay, the white background, the black color has a difference. And in a black background, white color, that also makes more meaningful. So don't practice this completely throughout. Wherever necessary, wherever possible, you can decide on this. Even need not be a black, white, complete white. You can have a shades of colors. See, look at this background. Very red color, dark background, but we are using blue color. The combination is not at all good. And this will create problem among the audience, their visuals. We are affecting their vision. They may not be interested to read what you are trying to put it there. So what's the purpose of that? I explained to you. They should read. So make a readable color font. So it's a white color or in a light color. If you use in a dark background, of course, that sounds well. So this is the one what expected for you. So it is you have to practice yourself, right? Is this color combination okay? The blue background again red color. This again the same. So we see many presentations, people are using this type of color combination. We don't know whether they know this, whether the audience are comfortable. They never bothered about it. If you don't bother about the audience, ultimately your presentation is totally upset, right? See, you can use blue or dark, any background, but use a very light color fonts. Color combination is much more important. Hopefully you understood that why I am trying to explain this for you. Light color, we are putting dark color again, but still not, I am not happy much about whether this can be easily visible in a distance. So sometimes that color combination we put, even the presenter couldn't able to even read that. Then see the reality that how the audience can able to understand what they are trying to put into that. So combination dark or light, you have to testify first, which is more convenient, cool color. Of course, you have to make the audience cool. So warm them first and cool them. So they will be comfortable, they will come with you, right? Then the problem becomes main problem, time management. This is very essential for any presentations because as I told you, when you're planning, time is the more important part because you can't take more time because the allocated time, you have to use it. So how do you manage it? That management is very important. Number of slides, you can take it as a guide. And in each slide, you have to put the content. And first, you have to decide each slide how much time you are going to spend. I think that will be more sufficient to you. You can end up with very effectively within the time frame what is given. Starting, you have to brief it. And ending also you have to be important. And the session time, how effectively we are using, that also equally important. So this comes out through practice. When you start doing practicing, you know that the time frame, how much you can allocate for each. Structure of a 10-minute talk. Just I give you a structure for a 10-minute talk. You can concentrate and how much of slides you can prepare and the time accordingly you can allocate on that. See that the background, of course, you need not spend much time, 1 to 2 slides, more than sufficient. And you can explain the background, what the whole about this presentation. Then you have to talk about the aim of the study, the essential part of that, why the study is. So of course, one slide is more than sufficient, but is essential, right? Comprehensively, you can prepare the slide. Then you brief the methodology, of course, one slide more than sufficient. If you want, you can go for another slide. Try to accommodate that within if you want to go for a 10-minute talk. The more important part is the results part. These all you can, the beginning, you can brief it. Results and discussion, you have to spend much more time because that is important. There's some new things you are bringing to the audience. So results and discussion, you have to prepare some 4 to 8 slides. Depends on your findings, your photograph support, any evidence based tables or graphs, anything you can put there, but very clear, clearly they have to be given with explanation. I told you everything you have to explain. So don't dump the database there in your slides. Whichever is essential, whichever is necessary to support your presentation, your claim, you can put it there. Then you have to go for a summary, of course. Conclusion, the summary one slide, as in conclusion one side. Summarize your findings, then conclude it. Of course, it can be more attractive. You can do very well. So 15 slides, totally more than sufficient. People do ask that, whether only 15 slides I can use for a 10-minute talk, whether I can't use it for more than that. No, I don't want to restrict that to with the slides number. Suppose you feel that one photograph is very essential in the results section, you have to explain that photograph alone should be there in one slide. Doesn't matter, you can put, minimize the time. So quickly you can just show it, it will be more impressive and you can pass. You need not dump in the slides, you can put in the slides themselves there. So it's not a very strict order whether you have to have only 15 slides, but you can decide. It doesn't mean that we can have 50 slides and as we like, we can dump anything there. So you have to decide on this is all, because you are the presenter, you are going to do it. This is all you have to decide on that, right? Why the contact? This is more important part. The presenter should contact always with that audience. The contact I mean here is an eye contact. Very powerful tool or the source where you are connecting the people. The eye contact is more important. So a presenter, a successful presenter will have a very 100% eye contact with the audience. Every audience is connected with the presenter. If you make it that system very well, you are a good presenter. You understand? So to make it, you have to take a lot of efforts and preparing the slides, not only that, and the way of presentation, the clear message, and attractingly with a smile. With the smile, you can attract them and you can show many things, even examples, and talk to them with a smile. They will come towards you. Your 3 sides, you have to focus in as a good presenter. And one is the audience, other one is screen. So presenter is connected to the audience, presenter is connected to the screen as well. And the audience are connected to the screen also, right? So audience, they listen to the presenter, see the screen. So here in this case, all these dimensions are there. So presenter is talking to audience using the screen. Audience are seeing the screen, but not other way. Sometimes presenter will start looking at the screen and try to explain on that. Presenter should not take out his eyes from the screen in the desktop, whatever he have in the monitor, and the audience. He should not turn to the screen, not at all. If it is necessary to even highlight something there, of course they can do, but not always. So then you will be distracted from the audience. So suppose you want to highlight something with the highlighter, you can turn and you can explain, that's all. Then you have to turn and you have to speak to the audience. You have to see the audience, all audience you have to address and you have to speak to them. So this mechanism, if you start following, you will do next time a good presentation. You can support with your presentation with the graphs, need not be the tables alone, graphs, of course, tables, and try to be simple and very informative. the tables or the graphs. Just suppose you are preparing for your dissertation or thesis, don't put the same table here. Which area you are going to focus, that also you can highlight there. So that will be more visible for them to understand. And also, very meaningfully, with suppose you have one data, you need not spend for a table. One data, just use the statement, more than sufficient. So these are all there in presentations, people who usually look into that. So have an outline, sketch the slides, prepare your slides, especially proofread it. Spellings, of course, anyone can make mistakes, so you can proofread it and even prepare notes, what you are trying to do it, so you'll be well ahead, well planned, and you can do very well. So in your presentations, don't apologize always. Sometimes people say, they said something wrong, you can say, I mean, and you can go ahead. Don't apologize again and again. That gives an indication that you are not comfortable or you are not very well prepared and you are trying to communicate something wrong. So don't apologize every time. Speak loudly and clearly, not like just talking with somebody. So here the idea is people should receive your message. Loudly you can speak. Sometimes their voice, if you don't have a support of a microphone, you have to loudly, you have to speak, you have to connect the audience who are sitting at last, and clearly you can deliver your message. Use short, simple sentences. This is not an area to testify that what I know about English. English, of course, is the third language for us, but it's an international language. So here you can use very simple sentences, short sentences, explain what you're trying to do that. The whole spirit of that is the people should understand. So if you have that in mind, you can do wonderful presentation. Avoid jargons and abbreviations because sometimes they may not follow it. So we had, and sometimes it will be very interesting to see jargons and even abbreviations. Suppose you put JSA. JSA has many meanings. JSA is used by the Japan Science Association also. But Jaffna Science Association also using JSA. So if you put just JSA, audience are not even connected to what you try to do that with the Japan Science Association or Jaffna Science Association. So we have to first describe what is JSA you are trying to talk, then you can abbreviate subsequently. Vary your pitch, your tone, the volume of the talk about, and the speed. Speed also much more important. You need not rush, but you have to rush within that time. Slowly, comfortably deliver and you execute it. That's all. So what is the rest? Practice, practice, practice. See the session, what you are trying to do, how you are going to spend. You have prepared a very good slides, but your delivery also equally important. Is or nothing other than that, you have to go for repeated practice, rehearsals. Do as much as possible alone, or even you can ask somebody to sit in front. Get the comments from that, any mistake you are making at the beginning. Once you start doing that, you will be a man with very comfortable presentation skills. Once you develop the skills, of course, anyone can do a good presentation. I hope that you understood this, what I tried to deliver on that. And I just take you to the message that the poster presentation, what I have given in the title. This is something different, a document that we are trying to prepare. But poster presentation also nowadays accepted. Comprehensively, all information will be there in a poster in a reasonable size. And it will be displayed there in any places. And it's a self-explanatory. That's the more important part. Poster presentations without a presenter, people can read and understand what is there. That's a clear message that all talk about poster presentation. So while preparing a poster presentation, you have to concentrate on that. Secondly, you are also can be there, the vicinity where the posters are displayed, and you can explain, suppose any clarifications comes out from your slides. a good poster gets award and the rewards. So preparing a poster, you have to spend more time because you have to accommodate all the information in a systematic manner, in a sequence. You have to do that, right? So here are some clips I can give you. You have a title, author, his address or your contact address, contact details, brief introduction. You have to explain the objective, materials and methods. Focus more on results and discussion. Here, I told you as a document has meaningful, people can read it. So therefore, graphically, you can use tables, figures, and photos in support of that to claim your results because they can understand easily from that. Then, of course, you have to have a conclusion and acknowledgement. So this visually, of course, you are going to display there. So that you have to print it very convenient way and you have to display on that. Size of the posters varies. It depends on the conferences, but generally 3 feet to 2 feet length and width. The otherwise also there 2 feet and 3 feet. Sometimes it will be lengthy, more than that, more than 1 meter or even 1.5 meter it is there. So the purpose that each conference they have a display board. So based on the size they will request you. So you have to concern about these sizes. While designing these posters, you have to concentrate 4 things more important. One is contents. You are going to put into that and format it, how you are going to display that. You can keep it columns. So that also easily you can prepare the slides and the columns also you can comfortably adjust yourself. The quantity of the information that you are going to put into that you have to have a concern. Organize it such a way that people could be able to read, follow it, as I told you, in a systematic approach. And overall appearance of that using the color combinations and all. That also giving some meaning on that, right? Try to see that your contents are simple, but very informative. See the font I am using, this is not a good font, but I am trying to put it there, whether you can able to understand. Though the fonts are available, I should not use that. It's not simple. And what the content you are putting should be very informative, something new things, then only audience will be listening to you. Now, even the next time, right? Again, using the fonts in the posters, you have to be careful, as I explained there in the poster oral presentation. But in the posters, of course, try to use fonts, very simple fonts, and the size of the fonts also you can decide because now they are going to be there closer to the poster. Hopefully 3 feet or 2 feet, they will be standing and reading on that. So you can minimize the fonts as much as possible. It's very easily visible, can easily read. Don't make the audience stress and start reading because when you're small fonts. So you have to adjust yourself how it has to be. So it is important part that I have explained you earlier. So a slide in a poster, a single poster, start from the introduction. Top of that, you can put title, the author, and your contact address. Any symbols, anything you can put in the top. Of course, the sequence starts from left to right. So the left side start from introduction, small section. Objective, you can give the objective what you are trying to explain about that. And the materials and methods, of course. That also you have to explain the size, material, methods, and results and discussion. You can adjust yourself based on the requirements of that. Probably results and discussion even can come in that section also. Start here. Give more space to the results. If you want to discuss, you can discuss. The results are much more important here. Then conclusion, then acknowledgement. So it's a sequence, stepwise process. So this is an outline. So I've tried to explain you a poster which we have prepared. That what I explain will give that meaning. So you can see in the top who is going to do the presentation. And you can see the conference who try to organizing this. This is in Norway, the Classica 2008. the presenter, title of this presentation, and the authors, the institutions in both sides, Green Farm Limited and the University of Jaffna. Of course, their symbols, crest will be more sufficient to give this. Then we are giving an introduction, objective, materials, methods, and you are talking about this. Then results and discussion, graphs, the backside the photograph, and contents. Then you have conclusion, of course, acknowledge. Of course, this poster, the all other co-authors, their photographs are, and their contact details, their professional career, all are displayed there. A very comprehensive, informative poster, right? This is another poster, of course, given more photographs in this. A similar pattern is followed here, but little adjustment there. In the middle, we have put some photographs there to explain, because we are going to print it in a big poster. Font size will be very easily seen, and you are trying to explain what actually the message you are going to deliver to the audience. So, presenting yourself, this is more important. All you did, very good present slides or posters, everything you have prepared, but you have to be careful about your attitude. Always you should have a positive attitude. This is more important. Not only in presentation, even in the life itself. Positive attitude is giving you boost to try to do more and more. And don't have a negative attitude at any way. So try to avoid negative attitude, because that will be giving a wrong message, distracting yourself. Any comments comes, you can patiently, you can listen, and you can organize such a way. If suppose anyone distracting in the middle, you can ask them when you are doing a presentation. So you can ask them to, can I hear your presentations at last? So you are politely, humbly, you can guide them. So they will be with you and they will be happy with you for you to listening the presentation. Believe it. Do you believe me? But you believe yourself. You have the power. Organize yourself. I am given some tips. That's all. But you have to practice. You have to plan yourself, and you have to do all. Believe it. You are a good presenter. Always you should believe it. You are a good presenter. I am going to do some very good things there. So take care about your slides. Take care about your posters. Take care about yourself. Practice, and you can start doing this. And then you will be satisfied. So I did a wonderful presentation, and that satisfaction actually the audience will express as a feedback. I say you did a good presentation. That gives sound. That sounds more, and that's a reward. That for your best presentation, right? Thank you very much for joining with this and listening patiently on these presentation slides. Hope I have given some tips to you to understand. And these are all my experience. I learned when I start doing these presentations, and I saw others' presentations. So based on that, I have prepared these slides, and I want to communicate to you. So hopefully you can do next time an outstanding presentation. You will get the awards. In many conferences, they are having awards. So you can have awards on that. Okay, thank you very much. So I try to stop sharing this. So enjoy well, prepare well. Doing research is not one part. The other part is presentation also. So do your best presentations in any conferences, or even preparing a lecture or preparing a seminar. And also meantime, the posters also equally important. So both you can consider well and can do well. Thank you very much joining with me, and I will meet you with any topic next time. Thank you very much.